At around 7:30 p.m. on June 14, 2019, an ordinary evening turned into a nightmare at a busy Costco in Corona, California. Shoppers were jolted by the sudden sound of gunfire. Panic ensued as people scrambled for safety or dropped to the ground, while numerous frantic calls were made to 911. Emergency responders quickly arrived at the scene, but the initial details of what transpired were unclear. What was certain, however, was that an entire family had been targeted by a lone gunman during their routine grocery shopping. The shooter, an off-duty LAPD officer, Salvador Sanchez, was escorted from the store seemingly unhurt and without needing assistance. Hello everyone, welcome back to The Dark Evidence. Today's case has recently seen a significant update. The incident back in 2019 left the community in shock and confusion. Even with new evidence, there are still conflicting opinions about what exactly happened inside the Costco that fateful night. Let's explore this case in detail. Corona, California, located about 50 miles east of Los Angeles in Riverside County, is known for its art galleries and the local Costco store, which was bustling with activity that Friday evening. By 7:30 p.m., most of the after-work shoppers had finished, and the store was beginning to quiet down. However, at 7:45 p.m., the atmosphere shifted dramatically as gunshots echoed through the aisles. Terrified customers called 911, reporting the incident as police officers swiftly arrived at the scene. The first responding officer, who had been stationed just outside the store, was directed towards a man on the floor, identified as LAPD officer Salvador Sanchez. He appeared disoriented but unharmed. Witnesses stated that he had fired at 3 other shoppers in the aisle, while others nearby had either ducked for cover or ran towards the exits. There was chaos as people tried to escape the store, and those who remained were in shock and confusion. Contrary to initial reports of an active shooter, investigators quickly realized that the only shots fired came from Officer Sanchez's weapon, a Glock handgun, from which he discharged 10 rounds in rapid succession. Among those struck were 32-year-old Kenneth French, his father Russell, and his mother Paola. Kenneth was hit 3 times in the back and once in the shoulder, while his parents suffered serious injuries. The remaining bullets lodged in store displays, with no further injuries reported. Kenneth French, diagnosed with schizophrenia and an intellectual disability, had the mental capabilities of a teenager and was nonverbal at the time of his death. The family had moved from Canada to Riverside, California, and Kenneth was living with his parents. His condition had been deteriorating, and he was due for further medical evaluations. Witness accounts varied regarding the initial confrontation between Kenneth and Officer Sanchez, with some claiming to have seen Kenneth push or slap the officer, while others saw no provocation. Salvador Sanchez claimed that he believed he had been shot in the head and that Kenneth was armed, prompting him to fire in self-defense. However, no weapon was found on or near Kenneth, nor did any witnesses report seeing him with a gun. The store's surveillance footage, which did not capture the initial interaction, showed Kenneth being pushed away by his father before shots were fired. The footage also revealed that Sanchez announced himself as a police officer before opening fire. Despite the confusion, Officer Sanchez was not arrested at the scene. He was placed on administrative leave, and the LAPD initiated an internal investigation. In September 2019, a grand jury declined to indict Sanchez, citing insufficient evidence. However, the French family, devastated by the loss of their son and the injuries sustained by his parents, filed a civil lawsuit against the city of Los Angeles. They argued that Sanchez's actions were unjustified and that his professional training was inadequate. The civil trial brought new insights, including an animation depicting the sequence of events based on the surveillance footage. The jury found in favor of the French family, awarding them over $17 million in damages. By this time, the LAPD had completed its investigation and determined that Sanchez's use of force was excessive, leading to his termination from the department. Salvador Sanchez's defense argued that his perception of a threat, influenced by what they claimed was a head injury sustained during the fall, justified his actions. A brain specialist who evaluated Sanchez stated that his response was consistent with someone suffering from a concussion. However, the Riverside County DA's office did not pursue criminal charges. In August 2021, the California Attorney General's office decided to file charges against Sanchez, including voluntary manslaughter and assault with a deadly weapon, potentially leading to a 30-year prison sentence. The case went to trial in late 2023, with both sides presenting their arguments. The prosecution argued that Sanchez created a false narrative to justify his actions, while the defense maintained that his rapid response was driven by a perceived life-threatening situation. After lengthy deliberations, the jury was unable to reach a consensus, leading to a mistrial. The defense attorney indicated that the majority of jurors favored acquittal, but no final decision was reached. The case now awaits further action from the California Attorney General's office, which must decide whether to retry Salvador Sanchez. A hearing is scheduled for February 2024. This case highlights the complexities and controversies surrounding police use of force and the legal implications that follow. The French family continues to seek justice and healing, while the outcome of any potential retrial remains uncertain. Thank you for watching, and if you appreciate our content, please consider subscribing to The Dark Evidence. Stay tuned for more updates on this case and other intriguing stories.